Hello guys and welcome to the filmBox. So we made a few changes now. I changed my backdrop. The other one was too yellow. Like since the disc is also like a clear color, decided to go for something more contrasty, I guess you would say. So hope you guys like it. So let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be talking about the 7artisans 35mm T2 lens. This is a Cine lens, which is a little bit different than your ordinary photography lens. This is more specialized for doing video, and I just want to go over it. I've had this thing about for, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 months now, and I've used it a good amount of times whenever I'm doing video work, and I just want to share my thoughts about it and see if this is something that you guys may like. So a quick disclaimer, I actually reached out to 7artisans to see if they would sponsor this video in any way, whether it was, sending me the lens to review it or even, letting me borrow the lens to review it, but they said no. I even asked them if they'll give me a small discount so I can purchase it and review it, and they still said no. So they're a little tricky to work with, but I don't blame them. My channel's not big or anything, so I can understand if they don't see the value in this, but I'll go ahead and give you guys my full honest review. I purchased this with my own money, and we'll go from there, and I'll show you the pros and cons of this lens. So let's go ahead and start with some of the pros about this lens. First thing is build quality. This thing is built like a tank. Like I'm telling you, if you drop this and it falls on your toe, you're gonna break it. Like this thing is pretty heavy, but it's a really good thing because whenever you're doing video, you want to make sure that you do have some weight to your setup, because the more weight you have, the less micro jitters or micro vibrations you'll have in your footage. And it's good to have like some, to me in my opinion, some shake on your footage. It's really nice to actually be able to do handheld, but sometimes just the heavier it is, the more stable it is. So sometimes whenever you're shooting handheld and then you do some stabilization on post, it almost looks like you're using a gimbal. And that's all when it comes to the weight. So the more weight, if your camera has weight and then your lens has weight, then you're gonna be in good hands. So another pro about this lens is the price. The time I was filming this video right now, the price is about $379 US. I paid about $419 because they didn't have it on sale. It looks like it's on sale now. So I mean, go grab you one. Honestly, if you're getting a lens with this kind of build quality for like less than $500, is honestly a very good deal, and it's helped me out a lot when it comes to doing my video work. Instead of using just my photography lenses, just having a dedicated Cine lens for that kind of money, you definitely want to have something like this in your camera bag. Now they do have other focal lengths as far as on the full frame line and as well as on the crop sensor line. I believe on the full frame it's like a 35, a 50, and an 85. I opted in for the 35mm because it's honestly my favorite focal length. Is the one I use for photography as well, but I just love it more than the 50 or the 85. To me, the 50 and 85 are a little bit too zoomed in for me to be able to have like good composition. That's why I love the 35. You can separate your subject but still show a good bit of the background and the setting, so that makes really good composition in my opinion. Now I'm not sure if this is a pros because this is pretty much just, part of being a Cine lens. So what you have right here is like some gears. Now these gears attach to this follow focus mechanism that allows you to focus on the on your subjects better. You have more control because whenever you're looking into doing video, you want to have full control of your focus. And sometimes autofocus, it does help a lot, but the camera decides what it's going to focus on. So even if it loses the subject, it'll focus on something else randomly or what it thinks is the subject. You won't have that issue because these are manual focus lenses. They're not autofocus at all, and that's maybe why the price are a lot lower than what you have on your photography lenses, but it's okay because whenever you're doing video, you do want to make sure you want to do manual focus. It does take some getting used to. I've been using autofocus for a long time, but I've been trying to get into just learning how to focus this lens coming in and out, because this focus throw on these lenses are very, very like smooth on it, and that's a good thing. And what that means is, like, just to kind of give you an example, whenever you're using this is my Sigma lens, the focus ring on this thing just goes on forever because it's like electronic focus. There's no actual like gears in there, so that allows you to get lost on where you are as far as in focus. But whenever you're using one of these, this does have like a ending, like a stop to each side, so there does come a limit where you gotta go back and so on. And this allows you to have better control of your focus. So like the professionals, they have like I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's like buttons markings right here. These markings tell you like the distance from your subject. So the more professional people have like a little like separate little wheel like attachment thing that you would just like spin it, and then as you're spinning it, it starts spinning this thing. That's how like the film movies. But yeah, anyways, I don't know the technical names for it, but the Cine Lens is something that can open up the door to have those kind of features. So that's something to think about whenever you want to get this lens. Now, another pros about this lens would be that it's a T2. And I know somebody in the comments is going to tell me I'm wrong, and I might be. So, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I think about it is like T stop is like F stop. So I believe, T2 is equivalent or very similar to, F2. I know some people would be like, well, that's not good enough. It has to be a 1.4 or a 1.2 or even 0.095. I'm sorry, 0.95. But T2 is perfect. Like, it gives you a really good shallow depth of field, and you don't want it to have like too shallow depth of field, especially if you're like shooting handheld, because it's gonna make it very, very difficult to get good focus. So this is great, and that allows a lot of light in, and at the same time I've been able to use it on pretty dark environments. I have this footage of my cousin. He was grilling some steak and all that, so I took that with me on one of the cookouts, and I was able to get some really cool footage of him doing that. And that was on T2 with the Sony A7R5, and I didn't have like the ISO like cranked up super high. I think I had it maybe like in 1200 or so. So yeah, it works great when it comes to low light, and it works great if you're looking to get some shallow depth of field. Now let's talk about the cons about this lens. Now, you can't get too picky with this lens, honestly, because you're getting at like a $379, and this thing is like really nicely built. So I feel like you're definitely getting your money's worth. The one biggest complaint I have about this lens is that whenever I'm shooting with like 2 lenses or 3 different lenses, all my other lenses are like fine. The biggest thing with this thing would be that there's like a really like greenish tint to the footage to it. So anytime I edit something, like let's say for example, right now I'm using my 24-70 Sigma lens. Anytime I'm using this lens and then I switch to this one, whatever work I did as far as color balancing and everything I did with the footage with my Sigma lens would look completely different if I try to copy and paste all that to any footage that I use with this lens. And that's because of that greenish tint. And you'll see it especially on your like on my, for example, my S-Log footage. There's huge differences between that. So you always have to go back and like edit something specifically for this lens, and then edit the rest with your other lenses. So that is my biggest complaint about this lens. It's not perfect, but it's okay. Like I said, we're looking at a $379 lens, so there's not much room to complain about, honestly, when it comes to that price. You're definitely going to notice some imperfections. Now, one of the major characteristics that you'll find on a Cine lens would be the character of the lens. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, when you have like photography lenses, they're very sharp. They're very clinically sharp. You don't want to have that when it comes to video. You actually want to kind of like stay away from that. So the more character like your lens has, like the more professional your footage looks. And what I mean by that is, for example, this lens is decently sharp whenever it's wide open, especially at T2. But you do have this softness. It's very like, I would say like It's nicely sharp, not very, but like it's pretty sharp when it comes to like the middle of the frame, and as it's going to the outside of the frame, it gets softer, and it has like, you can almost get some kind of like swirls on the bokeh, and it just gives it this really nice like cinematic look, in my opinion. Now, like I said, I'm not a professional or anything. I've never been able to use like any of like the Cook lens, which is like, you know, like the grail, the holy grail of cinematic lenses, but I've seen the footage of it, and I can see what they mean about that softness. So this lens tries to achieve that. Obviously, it's not gonna be as good as like, you know, I don't know, like a $15,000 lens. But you know, for the money, I think you are getting those kind of characteristics that kind of leak into your image, and somebody with a trained eye may be able to see that and say, hey, that's nice footage. Roger Deakins, if you're watching this, I'm trying, man. I'm trying to be like you, man. I hope you're proud of me one day. I hope you even see this one day. Now, before I go any further with this video, let's have a word from our sponsors. I'm kidding. I don't have any sponsors, but Squarespace, come on, help us out. Get us a website. Well, guys, I hope this video helped you out in any way, whether you were on the fence about getting any of the Cine lenses from 7artisans. I highly recommend them for the money. Honestly, you can't go wrong with it. So hopefully this video helped you out with that. And I haven't seen many videos about this lens, honestly, so that's what made me want to do this video. Now, just keep in mind, this is not in a sponsored video or anything, but I do have an affiliate link. And how did I get that? Well, you can actually go to their website and get yourself an affiliate link. You just sign up for it. So I figured I might as well make one if I'm going to make a video about it. So in case somebody wants to purchase it and, you know, they want to help the channel out, just purchase it through the link. Help us out with that. Like I said, I don't get sponsored on these videos, so I have to buy most of the things myself, and it does get pricey, but I love to share whatever I can, any knowledge that I have about video or photography that can make you guys a better videographer or photographer. So make sure to like, subscribe, share, turn on the little bell, whatever the YouTubers say. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.